When Neil Peart passed away in 2020, the entire rock world stood still. For Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, it wasn't just losing a bandmate, it was losing a brother. Rush had always been three parts of one soul. Without Neil, Geddy couldn't imagine stepping on stage again. Every beat of Rush's music was shaped by Neil's hands. For years, Geddy stayed silent, thinking Rush was over for good. Then came an unexpected call. A young female drummer who grew up idolizing Peart had been sending Rush covers online. She wasn't trying to replace Neil, she was honoring him. Something about her passion struck Geddy's heart. Could there be life for Rush after Neil? Geddy didn't know, but curiosity won. He invited her for a quiet jam session. What happened next would leave Geddy speechless. She arrived at the studio nervous but focused. Her name was Maya Collins, a drummer barely in her 20s who grew up studying every Rush record. Geddy expected a talented fan, but when she sat behind the kit and counted in Tom Sawyer, the air changed. Her timing was sharp, her energy electric. But more than skill, she had something rare, emotion. Geddy later said, "For a moment, it felt like Neil was smiling down at us." Alex Lifeson watched quietly, his eyes wide. The jam turned into a 2-hour marathon, revisiting YYZ, Limelight, and Subdivisions. When they finished, silence filled the room. Geddy finally broke it. "You don't play like Neil, you play like yourself. That's what makes it special." For the first time in years, Rush's music felt alive again. Geddy wasn't sure where this was heading, but he knew this was only the beginning. After that first jam, the question loomed. Could Rush really perform again without Neil Peart? Fans were divided. Some begged for new life in Rush's legacy. Others warned, you can't replace a legend. Geddy understood both sides. He wasn't looking to replace Neil. He wanted to honor him by keeping the spirit of their music alive. But Maya felt the pressure. Every headline called her the girl replacing Neil Peart. Geddy pulled her aside one day and said, "Forget the headlines. You're not replacing Neil. You're continuing what he inspired." Those words changed everything for her. In the studio, she began experimenting, not copying Neil's fills, but reinterpreting them. Her approach was fresh, lighter, and emotional. Geddy felt something awaken inside him, the joy of creation. Maybe Rush could evolve without losing its heart, but could the fans ever accept it? For months, Geddy, Alex, and Maya met in secret. No media, no photos, just music. They called it the Room of Echoes. It was where they reimagined old Rush songs, keeping Neil's genius alive but allowing Maya's drumming to shape new energy. Geddy described it later. We'd start a song like Red Barchetta and suddenly it felt lighter, freer. Alex smiled more in those sessions than he had in years. Still, they weren't sure if the world was ready. Rumors began to leak. Whispers of Rush rehearsing with a new drummer. Some fans were furious. Others were curious. Geddy knew this would be delicate. The only way to silence doubt was to play live. So quietly, Rush planned something huge. A private show for a few hundred die-hard fans. No cameras, no press, just music and truth. The venue was small. Dim lights, a modest stage, and a quiet buzz of anticipation. Geddy could feel his heart pounding as he walked up to the mic. "It's been a long time," he said softly. Then Maya counted in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the spirit of radio filled the room. The crowd erupted. Geddy could hardly believe it. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was energy. Maya's drumming wasn't Neil's, it was her own. And yet somehow it honored everything Neil built. By the end of the show, fans were crying, cheering, chanting Rush lives. Backstage, Geddy looked at Alex and said, "I didn't think this was possible." Alex smiled. "It's not the same, but it's real." That night proved something important. You can't replace Neil Peart, but you can keep his fire burning. When word spread about Rush's private show, rock media exploded. Headlines read, "Rush returns with a new beat," and "The Impossible Revival." Some critics praised Maya's talent, calling her the new torchbearer of progressive rock. Others called it blasphemy. Geddy ignored the noise. He'd learned long ago that music was about connection, not approval. But Maya took it hard. "People think I'm trying to be Neil," she told Geddy. "They don't understand. I just love Rush." Geddy smiled. "That's exactly why you belong here." He started mentoring her personally, sharing stories of Neil's discipline, his humor, his endless curiosity. Maya listened, taking notes, practicing for hours. Slowly, she began to find her balance, a drummer not trapped by legacy, but lifted by it. Rush was ready for the next step, recording new music. This was the hardest part. For decades, Neil Peart had written almost all of Rush's lyrics. His words defined the band's soul. Without him, Geddy felt lost. Then Maya surprised them. She showed up one day with a notebook, filled with her own lyrics inspired by Neil's themes. Freedom, time, and human spirit. They weren't copies, they were conversations. One line struck Geddy deeply. "We don't replace the thunder, we just learn to carry the storm." It became the opening lyric to their new song, Carry the Storm. Alex added haunting guitar textures, and Geddy's bass thundered with new life. Recording the track felt sacred. Geddy said later, "It wasn't about moving on from Neil, it was about moving forward with him still guiding us." When they finished, the studio was silent. Everyone knew. This was something special. Months later, Rush made it official. They were returning with a new drummer and one new single. The internet erupted. Some fans were thrilled. Others swore they'd never listen again. But Geddy wasn't afraid. He'd been through every storm with Rush. Critics, retirements, tragedies. This was about healing. On release day, Carry the Storm topped rock charts within 24 hours. Fans couldn't deny the magic. Maya's drumming was fierce yet emotional, and Geddy's voice carried the weight of time. In interviews, he said, "Neil's shadow will always be with us. But if we let that stop us, he'd be the first to scold us." The song's success gave them courage. Maybe it was time to tour again. But one question remained. Could Rush step on a big stage without breaking down? Rush's return tour, Echoes of Time, began in Toronto, the band's hometown. Every seat was filled. The lights dimmed. A single spotlight fell on Maya. She started the show with Neil's signature drum salute, then turned it into her own. The crowd went wild. As Geddy sang the opening lines of Time Stands Still, he felt a tear roll down his cheek. Neil's absence was everywhere, but so was his spirit. Fans didn't just cheer, they celebrated. Maya earned standing ovations every night, proving she wasn't Neil's replacement. She was Rush's new chapter. Geddy later said, "Playing with her reminded me why we started this band, for the joy of creation." The world had finally accepted that Rush could live on. Different, but still powerful. After the tour ended, Geddy sat alone in the studio one evening, looking at a framed photo of Neil. He whispered, "We did it, brother." Rush's journey had come full circle. They hadn't replaced Neil Peart. No one ever could. But they found a way to keep his heartbeat alive in every song. Maya became more than a drummer. She became family. Rush's story, once thought finished, had found a second wind. In his final interview about it, Geddy said, "People ask if she can match Neil. The truth is, no one can. But she can remind us why he mattered, and that's more than enough." The music of Rush, reborn through love, loss, and legacy, continues to echo across generations. Proof that true legends never fade.